Module 6, Networking, Connecting Computing Devices. Networking Fundamentals. A computer network is a collection of computers and other devices that are connected together to share resources and communicate with each other. Networks can be wired or wireless, and they can be set up in a variety of configurations, depending on the needs of the users. Here are some pros and cons of computer networks. Pros. Resource sharing. One of the main advantages of computer networks is that they allow for resource sharing. This means that multiple users can share hardware devices, such as printers, scanners, and external drives, and software applications, which can save money and increase efficiency. Communication. Networks allow for easy communication between users, whether they're in the same room or on opposite sides of the world. This can facilitate collaboration, knowledge sharing, and faster decision-making. Centralized management. Networks can be managed centrally, which can make it easier to administer security settings, monitor usage, and maintain hardware and software. Scalability. Networks can be scaled up or down depending on the needs of the organization. This means that new users or devices can be added to the network without disrupting existing users. Cons. Security risks. Networks can be vulnerable to security breaches, such as hacking, malware, and unauthorized access. It's important to implement appropriate security measures, such as firewalls, antivirus software, and user authentication, to protect against these threats. Complexity. Networks can be complex to set up and maintain, especially for organizations with limited IT resources. This can require specialized knowledge and skills, as well as ongoing training and support. Reliability. Networks can be prone to downtime and outages, which can disrupt productivity and cause frustration for users. It's important to have backup systems and contingency plans in place to minimize the impact of these issues. Cost. Setting up and maintaining a computer network can be expensive, especially for small businesses or individuals. This can include costs for hardware, software, maintenance, and support. Computer networks offer many benefits in terms of resource sharing, communication, centralized management, and scalability. However, they also come with some drawbacks, including security risks, complexity, reliability issues, and cost. It's important to carefully consider these pros and cons when deciding whether to set up a network and how to manage it effectively. Network architectures. Networks can be defined in different ways depending on the scope and purpose of the network. Here are some of the most common ways networks are defined. By geographic scope. Networks can be defined by their geographic scope, which refers to the physical area that the network covers. There are three main types of networks, based on geographic scope. Local area networks, LANs, wide area networks, WANs, and metropolitan area networks, MANs. LANs are typically used in a single building or campus, while WANs cover larger geographic areas and connect multiple LANs. MANs are somewhere in between, covering a metropolitan area such as a city. By network topology. Network topology refers to the way that devices are connected to each other in a network. There are several types of network topology, including bus, star, ring, mesh, and tree. Each topology has its own advantages and disadvantages, and the choice of topology depends on factors such as the size of the network and the requirements for reliability and scalability. By network architecture. Networks can be defined by their network architecture, which refers to the way that data is transmitted between devices. There are two main types of network architecture, client-server and peer-to-peer. In a client-server architecture, a central server manages access to resources and data, while in a peer-to-peer architecture, devices can communicate with each other directly without a central server. By network protocols. Network protocols are the rules and standards that govern the way that data is transmitted over a network. Different types of networks use different protocols, such as TCP/IP, used by the Internet, or IPX/SPX, used by novel networks. By network services. Networks can also be defined by the services they provide. For example, a network may provide file sharing, email, printing, or web access. The choice of network services depends on the needs of the users and the goals of the organization. Network components. A computer network is made up of various components that work together to enable communication and resource sharing between devices. Here are some of the main components of a computer network. Network interface card. A network interface card, also known as a network adapter, is a hardware component that connects a device to a network. The NIC is responsible for sending and receiving data over the network. For the nodes on a network to communicate with each other and access the network, each node needs a network adapter. Switches. Switches are networking devices that connect devices together in a local network. They are responsible for directing data between devices and ensuring that data is sent to the correct destination. Routers. Routers are networking devices that connect different networks together. They are responsible for directing data between networks and ensuring that data is sent to the correct destination. Modem connects your network to the internet. Access points. Access points are networking devices that enable wireless connectivity between devices. They are responsible for broadcasting a wireless signal that devices can connect to. Cables. Cables are physical components that connect devices to a network. There are several types of cables used in networking, including Ethernet cables, fiber optic cables, and coaxial cables. Fiber optic cable transmission medium transmits data the fastest. Network operating system. A network operating system is software that runs on a server and is responsible for managing network resources and providing network services. Examples of network operating systems include Windows Server, Linux, and Mac OS Server. Servers. Servers are devices that provide resources and services to other devices on the network. Examples of server resources include file storage, email, web hosting, and database management. Data are sent through a network in bundles called packets. Clients. Clients are devices that access resources and services provided by servers on the network. Examples of clients include desktop computers, laptops, smartphones, and tablets. These components work together to enable communication and resource sharing between devices on a computer network. By understanding the different components of a network, you can better manage and troubleshoot network issues and ensure that your network is running smoothly and efficiently. Using a wireless network without the network owner's permission is known as piggybacking. Connecting to the Internet. Connecting to the Internet allows devices to access information, resources, and services from around the world. There are various ways to connect to the Internet. Broadband is a high-speed Internet connection that is always on. Broadband connections include cable, fiber optics, and satellite. Broadband connections typically provide faster speeds than dial-up connections, which have all but vanished in the developed world. Wireless fidelity, or Wi-Fi, is a wireless networking technology that allows devices to connect to a local network and access the Internet. Wi-Fi is commonly used in homes, coffee shops, airports, and other public places. Cellular data is a wireless Internet connection that is provided by mobile carriers. Cellular data is commonly used by smartphones and tablets, and it can also be used to provide Internet access to other devices through a mobile hotspot. Dial-up is a slower type of Internet connection that uses a phone line to connect to the Internet. Dial-up was the only way to access the Internet in the 1990s and retained some popularity into the 21st century, but is becoming increasingly rare. Ethernet is a wired networking technology that is commonly used to connect computers and other devices to a local network and the Internet. Ethernet connections typically provide faster speeds than Wi-Fi connections, but they require a physical cable to connect the device to the network. The choice of Internet connection depends on factors such as speed, availability, and cost. Broadband and Wi-Fi are the most common types of Internet connections, while cellular data and dial-up are less common.